Microsoft has this weird history when it comes to, video games and the video game market and things like that. I think it's obvious that, some people kind of look at Microsoft and they still want to talk about and see, things that kind of aren't there. So to speak. People are fighting wars from years and years ago, which is really unfortunate. But Microsoft continues to fight back, and this is some really good news as well. And I think that this is like about the time that we start seeing stuff like this. I kind of said, hey, we'll see some of this stuff happen right about now, and here we go. It's like I don't want to say prophetic or whatever, but common sense wins out. Who would have thought that common sense would win out and that the crap gamer would kind of be the voice of reason when it comes to this stuff? I think that it's one of those things that I'm just happy to finally see coming true, and the way that Microsoft has handled this, I think, has been absolutely incredible, and fans right now are kind of celebrating, and I think it's a good thing. So I want to get into this. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I think this is just some very interesting things, and I hope to hear what everybody thinks. So let's get into it. Let's go. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I certainly appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that. It helps out the channel. I'm looking to get 100 likes on all the videos that I do. I know that it's a silly small goal, but it's a goal that I nonetheless would like to kind of accomplish, and would really appreciate what you guys are doing and things like that. So this is very, very interesting and some really cool stuff, to say the least, the way that Microsoft has kind of handled this. But it looks like, everybody's all like, oh, Microsoft mismanages this, Microsoft mismanages that. Now we've got some pretty big confirmation that Microsoft is handling things the best way that they can, and if we give them time, we get stuff like Hi-Fi Rush, a very complete, stable, great running game. It all comes down to the ability to let these companies kind of cook and do their thing. Now it looks like one of my most anticipated titles is seemingly playable, as per this. Fable, by the way. A producer's profile mentions preparing and facilitating regular game playthroughs as one of his responsibilities at Playground Games. Now, here's the interesting part, right? So Fable was announced nearly 3 years ago and has been in development for a while, but since its CG announcement trailer from 2020, we've seen absolutely nothing on the game so far. People are understandably, though, getting increasingly anxious about the state of the project and how it's shaping up, but it would seem that developer Playground Games is quietly making steady progress behind the scenes. Now, what's very interesting about this, in my opinion, is, we've seen a lot of the negativity. We've seen a lot of the interesting things that kind of come out about Fable. People are saying, oh, well, Fable is this, or, Fable is that, Fable is in this state or that state or what have you. And, I just feel like it's kind of a shame, to say the least, that, that the negativity around the game, people believe it. Like, it's like, when people were saying, oh, well, could you imagine PlayStation having to come out and confirm that Naughty Dog is still making The Last of Us or whatever? Well, if all news if they had laid off some staff and they were having issues, and, people were making up things about the studio, they would have to come out and say something, right? It doesn't mean that it's bad or necessarily terrible, but you have to be able to go out there and kind of do that, or people just run with the super negative like it's factual. So, I think that's something that, obviously Microsoft couldn't let happen, and so they went about things their own way. Now, we're seeing this kind of come out, and I think it's a good thing. And yes, apologies, I am fighting off a cold, and it's just one of those things that kind of sucks. But yeah, it is kind of is what it is. And again, like Microsoft, they're gonna have one of their best years ever from a first party standpoint this year, and people are still gonna find a way and reason to hate on that, which is, I think, super unfortunate, because Microsoft has come such a long way with Xbox and everything in general. So I do honestly hope that we see more people be positive with Xbox for the things that they're doing right, instead of just, we get it, they stunk it up last year. Like that's an obvious thing that they're going to have to kind of deal with. But when they're releasing games like they are, and it looks like they're going to continue to do this year, there comes a point where you have to let go of the past, and I think that's what fans are doing, but haters aren't, and it's really unfortunate. But what we're seeing now, this was spotted on a LinkedIn profile of Fable producer. It would certainly suggest that the game in his profile, that the game is in a playable state, mentioning that part of his responsibility is to prepare and facilitate regular playthroughs and build reviews for stakeholders, which is a really good thing to hear. Now, I'm not suggesting that this game is releasing this year, but the fact that it's in a playthrough state could mean that it would be come out next year or so. But of course, a playable build of a game can take many forms during the course of a development cycle, and doesn't necessarily indicate what stage of production is at a project currently finds itself. But given the fact that Fable has been in development for a number of years, one would assume that it's taken enough shape to be playable in greater capacity. That some reports have suggested that there have been development issues during the production, thanks in large parts to internal politics of the studio arising out of the game's use of the Forza Tech engine, which that was actually debunked. Other reports have claimed that the project was rebooted, but they have been labeled false by credible sources. It's also been recently reported that Playground Games is receiving development support by RPG Deus Ex developer Eidos Montreal, but they also did the in my opinion, much better than Deus Ex. They did the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which was absolutely one of my all-time favorite games. Just such a fun game, the way that they handled that. And if they're helping out with Fable, I think it can only be, a great thing, because they did such a good job understanding the characters and kind of giving them their own life. And you would think that it would be difficult to sort of get into, these characters from a different standpoint, because and I'll just be honest with you, because we've all seen the movies, and we see that these movies are, those characters are made by the movie stars or whatever, and we kind of get sort of attached to that. And when you see a different version, sometimes like people have a hard time with that. So at the end of the day, the fact that Microsoft has done a good job with finding co-developers and things like that of such high quality and things like that, I think that says a lot for what's happening, and I hope that we continue to see such care given in the future, because that's going to be all the difference in the world in the future. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with that, as that's, I think, the most important thing to me personally. So with that being said, I will link all of this in the description. You can check it out. Let me know what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe, rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.